Headspace, GTFM's mental health and well-being programme.
Now, we're in a privileged position here at GTFM that we can listen to music all the time. And it's safe to say that for many, the pandemic has created loneliness and isolation. And as we all try to keep our friends, our family safe, and ourselves safe, really, with growing uncertainty and anxiety over when this situation will end, more and more people are turning to music to find comfort, escapism, and even a form of therapy from what is happening. The pandemic has impacted the arts, particularly the music industry, immensely over the past 13 months, with no venues open, no opportunity to play in front of crowds. This is having a huge impact on the mental health and well-being of musicians and artists alike. Three artists who want to bring awareness of the situation through music are James Hoare and Cardiff-based producer Ben Banjo Field, and also as well vocalist Duke Al, who together, and also I should say as well, there's another female vocalist as well, Rachel, who is on the track, who sadly can't join us this evening. But they've decided to create a meaningful and a powerful song with a really powerful message around mental health and awareness from this piece of music. It's great. And to talk more about their new song, James, Ben and Duke join me on Headspace. Good evening, chaps. How are we doing? I hope you're all very well.
Very well.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. So, James, I wanted just to kind of start just talking around what inspired this piece of music, because there's a lot of strong messages in there, like hold my hand and everything's going to be okay, and all that kind of thing. What's kind of brought that to the fore to kind of say, you know what, I want to make a piece of music that kind of gives that message out?
So I think it kind of comes from a place of we started writing the track and it was originally meant to be a disco kind of housey, upbeat, lifting, that type of feel. Myself and Ben haven't been DJing, because of the lockdown and everything. So we felt as if a lot have been, we lost a lot in terms of making the crowd happy on a Friday and Saturday night. And we couldn't bring that kind of energy that we do when we DJ, when the room's going and everyone's full of it and going, how are we going to do this now in lockdown? How are we going to create that buzz and do this? So we started off doing a bit of like back and forth, which we still got actually, is Destination Disco, back-to-back set that we used to do. We had a few goes live, but it was doing it to a camera on the screen. As you know, like, it's really hard to get the feedback that you do with the crowd when you're DJing. So I've been producing for 12 years. My own background, I was an alcoholic, and 3 years ago I found recovery. So there's a message of me kind of being in recovery, and these guys got their own stories as well. But we wanted to create an uplifting track because everyone was feeling isolated and alone, as you said, and that was sometimes, and how that started was, it was meant to be a disco kind of upbeat lifting track. So in the studio, we wrote the instrumental and we got all of that down. And then we realized then, I went into the house after Ben had left, and those lyrics, sometimes you get a creative kind of, a thing. So sometimes I feel high, sometimes I feel low, sometimes I sing to feel my soul. The chorus, I just kind of wrote down at the kitchen table. And that hook came to me within, kind of 15 minutes.
Yeah, and it really rings true, that line, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of people will feel that high and that low with their mental health. So that kind of resonates right through, doesn't it? In terms of probably what you went through as well, as you went through your recovery from alcoholism. That's massive, isn't it?
Well, I suppose, I mean, those simple like lines, sometimes, like, I think, like, I was really, really fortunate 2 years ago to find recovery. And I think I kind of did the backbone work that everyone's kind of doing now in lockdown. So I had to get used to a life without drinking. I had to get used to a completely different life without alcohol in it, knowing that I can't use alcohol in my life anymore. So it kind of, without realizing, my recovery 3 years ago prepared me. Like, I look back at it and think that's prepared me for lockdown. Hold on a minute. People are feeling as I did 3 years ago in recovery. They're feeling that now with this lockdown. they're having to get used to this kind of, oh my gosh moment where you have, and you're like, what's going on? I have no idea what's happening.
It's kind of like that shuddering halt, isn't it? And
yeah,
it was like from when you went, and I hope you don't mind me talking about a bit about
no.
the alcohol. You know, you kind of were, you know, drinking consistently and then kind of shuddering to a halt to go, you know what, I've got to make a difference now. I've got to change my life. Where actually you made that conscious choice to do that. I suppose, where at the moment through the pandemic, actually, you know, none of us have had that choice to make that huge significant change from actually going about our blissful ignorance of everyday life to a point where actually it's like, no, hang on, stay indoors, don't go out, don't do anything. You can't even kind of breathe in essence from there. So do you find that a lot of people, like your friends and family, have reached out to you to kind of give that advice, James? You know, kind of
I mean, there's been a lot of people, not so much that, but during my recovery I've always had full support of my family and friends and stuff, and that it's almost like, you know, like when I first got used to my recovery, you know, trying to come out and say I'm an alcoholic, and I went out all on Facebook, social media. I just put it out there, and like you said at the beginning, where you know you had a suicidal experience and you wanted to help other people change that, and that's kind of how I felt back years ago. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make a change. I wanted to help people. I wasn't just recovering, even though mostly I was recovering for myself, but I wanted to recover for other people so I could help other alcoholics and stuff like that. And since I've been sober, my life has gone from, you know, hitting your rock bottom, as they call it, to literally over the last couple of years, me doing quite a lot of, you know, quite a lot of stuff. And I've been producing for 12 years. And I guess I've always had like kind of writer's block because the alcohol has kind of messed it up for me, you know, and I've been sat there just drunk, just not my songs and music, never been really going anywhere, never really taking it to the next step because I've been too drunk to do that. But I suppose now I'm sober, I have more room in my mind and my head, and I can really think about what I'm doing, really take a step, and I have like space because I'm not obsessing constantly over alcohol. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's a fantastic story, and congratulations on coming out the other side to that, James. I think there's a lot of people out there who may still be suffering, and it might, you know, it's even compounding the problem of what's happening now at the moment. But I mean, it's an inspiration to see that you can actually get out the other side, and that's fantastic. So turning back to the track sometimes then, James, how did you said that you were DJing with Ben? Was that partnership already there, or did you discover together? How did you kind of collaborate in the past to come up with this song?
Yeah, got it, Ben. I'll let you go now.
Yeah, not a problem. So yeah, myself and James have we've done a bit of work for a great company in Cardiff called the Boutique Disco. Like bespoke events, weddings, and some really good nights. So we kind of came together through that. A little bit of background about myself. Mental health comes in all sorts of shapes and forms, and mine's a bit of PTSD from having a cardiac arrest a few years back, and ended up I was dead for 13 minutes, in a coma for a week, and the next few months in hospital. I've now got a metal box in my chest called Dave the D-Fib to keep my ticker going. And what I've found from myself is that music has almost been my kind of antidepressant. It's kind of picked me up when I've been feeling down. So when obviously lockdown came and we weren't able to go out and DJ and perform to those crowds and get that buzz that we do from playing music, I've always wanted to have a go at producing a track. And me and James just got talking on the phone one day, and then next thing you know, well, probably a couple of months down the line, 10 weeks, I think overall it took us to make the track. We've come up with a really good, uplifting, but not just your generic pop track that's put out there where the lyrics are pretty unmeaningful. This one's got substance behind it, and it's as Duke will relate to in a bit. The lyrics have real meaning, real thought process behind them, and like you say, people can relate to them. And hopefully our end goal is basically just to lift people's spirits through music, and hopefully this track will be doing that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said at the beginning, I've listened to the track a few times now, and we're playing it out on GTFM as well regularly on our playlist, which is brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
And you are right, that track is really uplifting. And one thing what I like to do, especially when I'm on my low days, is mainly, you know, I do pick up music, and music is my therapy. I mean, I'm a radio DJ. I've missed going out and about into town, much as you guys have as well. You know, it's kind of been a strange period to be in music at the moment, in terms of you don't get that instant reaction and such. But the uplifting sound, and on your point, Ben, around the lyrics, I do love listening properly to a song that has got really, really decent written lyrics, because and a lot of my listeners might turn around and go, "Oh my God, Colin, you can't say this," but some of the new pop songs at the moment, the lyrics don't mean anything. They're either talking about rubbish. I mean, you know, if we listen to the Ariana Grande song, the new one, the 34 plus 35, it's just like, what is that about? It doesn't mean anything. It's just thing. But this song does. It literally hits you smack straight in the middle of the heart and goes, you know what? You need to listen to this, because actually, if you are going through something, this is going to tell you how you can summon that energy through that. And I think it's a great job, and to do it in 12 weeks is fantastic. What was that process like, Ben? Did you manage to do it out of lockdown, when we had that period of kind of lullness where we weren't actually under too much restrictions, or was it purely kind of virtual?
Well, I'd say a bit of both, to be honest with you. So effectively, it's classed as work. So we were in a studio, we were maintaining a 2-meter distance with our masks on and stuff, but just, like I say, bouncing ideas off. And then obviously using the likes of Zoom, we were able to have little studio sessions via Zoom, listening to little snippets here, there. So yeah, we've tried to work as safely and as responsibly as we could to be able to put this together. And like I say, making sure that there's not more than the two of us in the studio at any one time to try and put the track together effectively.
Yeah, it's a tricky period, isn't it? I mean, it's like sometimes when you it's hard enough when you have to produce anything in life, let alone think about, am I 2 meters away, or do I need to wear a mask at this point, or how many times have I sanitized my hands? It's like, well,
that's it, because it's great working on your own, because you're in your own mindset and getting on with stuff, but there's nothing better than being in a studio with somebody else and being able to bounce ideas and enthusiasm and stuff like that off each other, which obviously helped us create this track. So
yeah, no, brilliant.
And so a lot of coffee.
And a lot of coffee.
Yes,
very true.
Yes, but plenty. You can never go to battle with without a good cup of coffee before the day starts, can you? I'd like to bring in Duke Al, who's one of the vocalists on this track, and I must admit, I think the way you go about performing this, it almost sounds a little bit like the Streets to me, and I hope that comes across as a compliment, Duke, more than anything else. But it's kind of got that that vibe, which is great, because it doesn't it's not like James and Ben were saying, it doesn't come across that poppy. But what does this track mean to you? And if you want to share any of your experiences as well, Duke, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. Yeah, so a bit of background about myself. I'm a spoken word poet and a rapper. I wrote verse 1, 2, and there's an extended version with verse 3. But I've been writing since I was about 11 to combat my own mental health. I suffer with OCD, which is a very misunderstood mental health illness. I won't go into the depths of it, but it's very stigmatized. And basically, when I was having all these intrusive thoughts when I was younger, I didn't know how to cope with them. I didn't want to tell anybody about it because I thought people would think I'm crazy. So I turned to the pen, and the pen became my escapism. That sort of developed then into my passion, and I started pursuing spoken word poetry and rap about 1.5 years ago. And basically, James approached me for the track. He said he's got a track that he's worked on, an instrumental, and he said he wants it to be for mental health. He showed me the chorus, which is fantastic, and he said, can you do something with it? And I said, yeah, that's an awesome thing. Awesome idea, because meaningful music is all I'm about as well. I always want to create, when I create my poems and my songs, I try to create them all with meaning. And yeah, so I wrote verse 1 pretty much straight away, and then the other verses just came after it as I started to create a story. So verse 1 is basically about somebody feeling really low, got depression. You know, it's like the lyrics say, this daily mental marathon is a struggle, more or less, because, you know, mental health can be a marathon, can't it, unfortunately?
Yeah. So
and then that transitions into the second verse, which is basically the person who's responding to the chorus. So it says in the chorus, "Together we'll be okay." And then he's sort of thinking, well, wait a minute, you know, I need to sort of get myself out of this because I'm the only one who can climb out of this. And basically start to help others. So the second verse transitions into that. The person sort of becomes stronger and just wants to basically succeed, and is like, no, I'm not going to let mental health beat me, and I'm going to try and, you know, reach out my hand and grab somebody else and lift them out of their, you know, mental health struggles. And then on the extended version, there's a verse 3 which sort of ties everything together, and basically it brings in the coping mechanism, which is, as I said a minute ago, which is my writing and music. Music is my therapy, and James and Ben, I'm sure, and Rachel will say the same thing. Yeah, and it just ties it together at the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does, and you can really tell through the lyrics that it does come from a deep, you know, well thought out, meaningful place. You know, that like you say, you know, how that story transitions through, and then it's almost that kind of euphoric, you know, I can do it, you know, kind of sense.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
By the end of the song, so yeah, and I love spoken word poetry. I think some of the stuff that people like yourself write, Duke, it always feels inspirational anyway. So it must have come second nature for you to kind of put pen to paper, doing something like this.
Well, I've always, as I said, I've always used my poetry and my raps to combat my own mental health. And then as I've grown older, I've been able to create stories that hopefully people can relate to. That'll be captivating enough for people to, yeah, relate to, and then maybe educate those who don't understand some mental health issues. And I try and do it in a way where people, you know, for example, music, a lot of people listen to music. So it's going to be, number one, getting that message out there. But number two, with the whole, you know, instrumental and the beat and the chorus, it's there just to uplift people, you know, especially during these obviously crazy moments on Earth. So
no, absolutely. Thanks, Duke. So turning back to James, just to finish this section off with you, what do you want to achieve from this song? What would be your message to anyone who is kind of thinking, you know what, I want to give it a listen, or actually, you know what, I'm sat here at home thinking, you know, life is a bit rubbish, I'm a bit low. What would you say to people? And that's the same for anyone like Ben or Duke, if you want to chip in as well.
Yeah, I just want people to listen to it and just feel inspired, feel that they are not alone, because if anything, this pandemic is reinforced isolation and aloneness, and show that there's other people suffering. But not only that, a lot of people kind of go towards like how adults are feeling and stuff like that. I really want to inspire children to get in touch with their emotions. And, you know, my journey started as an alcoholic when I was about 15. That's when, you know, it kind of escalated. And I really want, you know, sort of younger people, teenagers and things like that, to just reach out and, you know, support each other and, you know, listen to the track and go, oh, okay, I feel like that, but I know I can go somewhere to speak to people. Sometimes it's hard for them to reach out to their parents, family, friends, all of that sort of stuff. So what I found was a community who were actively, you know, I felt listened and I felt heard. And that is the you know, the point of recovery, when you find somewhere that you can feel listened and heard. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you touched on the stigma as well. And one of the topics we've been talking about this evening is around smashing that stigma as well. And especially in workplaces, you know, and you may have experienced it yourself, James and Ben and Duke, you know, when you've gone into a certain situation and you feel like you can't tell anybody what's going on because they'll either kind of judge you, or they'll just, you know, that old adage of, oh, just get over it, you know, you'll be all right, there's nothing to stress about type thing. So yeah, vitally important, but a great message. Ben, Duke, anything you'd like to add?
Just on your point there, you know, like I think it goes down to the old BT saying it's good to talk. When I came out of hospital, and obviously I was struggling a bit, I went for counselling, and it was crazy the amount of times I would say to like a friend or a work colleague, oh, I'm just going for some counselling. They're like, oh yeah, I went last week. And like you say, there's this stigma around it, and everybody keeps quiet about it, especially us blokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be surprising how many people actually reach out and get help, but just don't talk to each other about it. So I think definitely it's good to talk, and it's good to listen, and it's good to listen to good music, like sometimes. So
towing the corporate line there, Ben. That's no, it's a great message, and that's exactly what we need to encourage, is that talking. And just on that point, one of the biggest things I always say to all my guests is we need to keep talking post-pandemic as well, because although we've got a medical emergency in terms of the coronavirus, and I hate saying the word, in fact on air I call it the Rona now, because I don't even want to know it as its formal name, but you know, it's kind of like once we get out the other side, or whatever the other side looks like, we need to keep talking about mental health, because we don't want it to be pushed under the carpet again. So it's a great point, Ben. It really is good to talk. Duke, anything final from yourself?
No, well, just I want to relay what the guy said. Just talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to a helpline. Somebody will listen, and somebody will probably relate to you, because I feel like you know, humans are complex beings. We're all probably suffering with some sort of mental health anyway. So it's crazy how much people can relate to each other when they do talk. And also me personally, for me, finding what are my negative coping mechanisms and my positive coping mechanisms. I myself struggled with a bit of alcohol as well, which was obviously a very negative coping mechanism, you know, but just recognizing that, you know, when I go down that route of the short-term fix, that it's never really, it never ends well, if that makes sense. Yeah. And also I think educating yourself about the maybe mental health condition that you may have, that's also really helped me, because it's helped me be able to manage it better, just because I know exactly what it is. So if I'm having a low day, I'm like, well, it's because I've got OCD, and I'm doing this compulsion because I have OCD, and then I'm like, I can sort of snap out of it, if you know what I mean. I think that's really important, just going forward. But yeah, the biggest message is together we'll be okay, and you know, we should always talk.
And a great message.
Just one last thing for me. It's just, you mentioned about what we're trying to achieve effectively with this track, and obviously it's to get it out there and be heard more, but that's not from a selfish point of view from ourselves. That's we've linked in with a few charities to try and help them as well, and bring a bit more awareness. So we've got up in North Wales, we got Cais, down in Cardiff we got the Living Room and Adferiad, and then across the bridge in Bristol we got Bluebell Care as well. So we got three charities involved so far, and we're in talks with Mind, obviously links in with yourself as well, about helping us kind of push the track a bit more through their social media platforms, and kind of use music as a form of an antidepressant as well. So
yeah, no, fantastic. And what we'll do as well, Ben, we'll put them charities onto our website as well. So if anyone does need to kind of go and find it, and if they're listening, because, you know, people can listen on the app across the world, really, in essence, for GTFM, we'll make sure that all them charities are listed on our website as well, so people can go and get some advice from wherever they are. So yeah, no, that's
thank you very much.
Okay, so what just to finalize, James, where can you listen to the song, and have you got any kind of social medias and such like that which listeners can head on over to, really?
Yeah, sure. So you've got, you know, if you look on Facebook, it's James Hoare Music on Facebook, and obviously Ben Banjo Field and Duke Al. You're Duke Al Durham on Facebook, aren't you?
On Instagram, yeah.
On Instagram. But yeah, and then you can sort of listen via those posts, but the main one is Ask Alexa, really, Play Sometimes by Ben Banjo Field and James Hoare, and you can on Spotify, on you know, Apple Music and YouTube Music. Anything else to add, Ben?
You've got Tidal and Deezer are the only other two ones off the top of my head. So yes,
on all
digital and streaming platforms.
Yeah, all streaming platforms. But if you want to follow us or drop us a message or anything like that, or if you are struggling out there and you're looking for somewhere to turn to, You know, we're always here to talk and share our experiences and help as well. So if you want to give us a private DM or anything like that, reach out to us. So I'm James Hoare. So James Hoare Music. And then
Banjo Field.
And Duke L Durham on Instagram. DM is always open.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us this evening, and thanks for being so open as well. I know sometimes that can be quite hard to talk about, but I'm sure our listeners at home would really appreciate to hear that, you know, other people have got their own struggles and are coping with it, and seeing the other side to it as well, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us on Headspace, guys. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Stay safe and look after yourselves.
Across Monfort, Cunn and Taff.
This is GTFM.